because in the East Midlands, we are very proud of what we have to offer here in the manufacturing industry. And it has been through a tough time for the last 50, 60 years. But we're making real progress. Only recently, Bosworth in my constituency has been noted as a net zero hotspot. It's described as a connective area which concentrates net zero activity where businesses create jobs and add to the local hotspot economy. This means better paid jobs, better opportunities locally, better local businesses, and nationally it means 840,000 jobs. And within that context, the average wage for someone in this industry is £42,600 compared to the national average of £33,000. Now, what does this actually look like in reality on the ground? And that's why I want to spend a few minutes talking. Because only on Monday, I was at a place called Horiba Myra. For those of you who don't know about Horiba, imagine the Silicon Valley of the automotive industry. Imagine the Google complex of anything you want to do with the car industry. From designing it, to manufacturing it, to testing it, it all happens at this one space. And it is unique in the world in what it can do. And that was supported by government from 2010 all the way through with investment to grow as an enterprise zone and allowed it to then flourish and attract international investment for the likes of RE, an Israeli company, bringing hundreds of millions of pounds in and 300 jobs with it. And this is just a start of what is going on in the automotive industry. Because I agree on both sides of the house, this really is a revolutionary chance and everyone in the world is trying to work out the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to support our research that we have going on right here. And that's what's happening in my constituency. Myra Technology Park has over 600 high-value jobs, specialisms in anything from autonomous car driving, battery technology, road safety, and defence. It's all being tested right here in the UK. In November 2022, Horiba Myra's assured connected and autonomous vehicle testing, the facility won the Vehicle Dynamic International Award based on the products, team and technology it can do with regards to innovation. And in June 2023, Myra won the award for Jaguar Land Rover at its 7th Annual Global Suppliers Excellence Awards, demonstrating outstanding achievements in JLR's global supply based on customer love, unity, integrity, growth and impact. That all sounds very well, but when I say to my constituents, are you aware of what's going on in our constituency? They don't really know what Myra is. And this is part of why I'm so pleased to speak in this debate, because actually the UK is fantastically good in this space. Not only is it creating jobs, at Myra you can have an apprentice and go all the way through to a PhD level on cybersecurity in cars, but it's also innovating for the future to get to net zero and create our energy security. And it's been partnered by things like the LEPs, the investment zones, and Midlands Engine to try and help drive this investment, change policy, and bring inward investment from the international community. And so I'm very proud on Monday to have welcomed the president of Horiba, Mr. Horiba, to see what was going on the day. And we saw two things. We saw Ceres, a hydrogen technology, battery technology, on the research they're doing to allow us to have battery technology in houses and in vehicles. But we also saw the driver simulators. If you're designing a car and you want to break into the industry, you can now design your car and use a simulator to test how it will handle, what it'll look like, how it feels both in comfort, in safety, all done simply in a computer-generated room. And what that means is it takes out the iterations of needing to make 50, 100 prototypes and collapses it down to about 1 or 2. But it doesn't just have rooms, dark rooms with TV screens. It has a full entire racetrack to test every single condition you can think of that a car might need to go through. This is right here in our country and leading the world on the international stage of how to bring in investment. So I'm really pleased that we can talk about this because there's more in my constituency. I have Triumph motorcycles. Now, for those of you who don't know, Steve McQueen leaped away on a Triumph motorcycle. James Bond was seen going over the rooftops in a Triumph motorcycle. And I'm very proud again to have them centred at their headquarters in my patch, creating over 1,000 jobs. And in the last 3 years, they've broken records for the number of bikes they've sold, going up by 30% across the world. Now, all across in America, into Latin America, they're breaking into the industry there, breaking into the market. And that means high-end, innovative jobs designed and manufactured right here in my constituency. This is the kind of thing that is going on that we're not good enough as the UK on either side talking up and talking about. Because it's that level of innovation and finishing that makes a huge difference to my local community. And I want to mention 2 other businesses. Flying Spares. Flying Spares is a second-hand remodelling for things like Rolls-Royce based in Market Bosworth. You need a part, they'll ship them anywhere across the world. That's an innovative way of creating longevity, helping with net zero by recycling our high-end products. And JJ Churchill's, another fantastic advanced manufacturing, aeronautical and defence agency that employ 110 people and high-end apprenticeships in the middle of the countryside. This is happening right here. My constituency is 85% rural, and yet I have businesses like this. And the final jewel in the crown is Caterpillar. Now, Caterpillar worldwide made £59 billion worth of sales last year. And they have 1,000 people working in Desford, in my constituency, where they're looking at making the green, hydrogen-driven, electric-driven tractors, what are they? The forklift trucks, dumper trucks, you name it. And I've even had the pleasure... I've even had the pleasure of sitting there and driving them in Arizona remotely, because this is the skills they are... this is the kind of innovation that we can do. And they're sourcing their manufacturing right here in Desford, and have been for 70 years. So the reason I mention all this is to raise and highlight some of the stuff that's just going on in the small world of Leicestershire. But actually the reason people choose the UK is because of the skill set that we have, the tech environment that we create, the regulations we have in place, and the stability on the global market. That's when I speak to companies, that's why they come here. But does that mean we should just say, oh, shut up shop and we haven't done enough? No, of course. While the Minister's here, I think it's really important to make sure there are avenues to signpost people to know where to invest. Because that can be one of the hardest things that comes up when I speak to the likes of Midlands Engine, which are looking at the way to drive investment into the 11 million people that are represented across the Midlands in the Midlands Engine, of where would businesses go and how do they connect with government? Of course I'll give way.
I'm very grateful to the Honourable Member. He's trying manfully to paint an extraordinarily positive picture of the industry at this point in time. Does he or does he not think that the rules of origin and the impact of Brexit will have an impact on the automotive sector? Yes or negative impact on the automotive sector? Yes or no?
Well, I'm very grateful for giving way. If that was the case, Triumph would have really struggled, but they haven't done. There is one fundamental point that I think needs to be raised and hasn't been fixed on enough, and I'm in danger of tempting into my own department in energy security and net zero. But the lady is no longer in her seat, raised infrastructure. And it does not matter what we are talking about, be it wind, EVs, power generation, gigafactories, unless we sort the grid out, there is a fundamental difficulty there. I believe the UK is 5 years ahead, broadly speaking, when it comes to net zero on delivering these issues. The problem is, so many companies are coming forward, they can't simply connect. So I asked the Minister to speak to the rest of government to make sure that we are dealing with the infrastructure. And I know there is a report coming out this month on the grid of how we can take that forward. But my final plea goes to both sides of the House, from anywhere in this House of Commons. Please do come and see, in my constituency of Bosworth, just how marvellous our automotive industry is. From design to manufacture to testing at the highest world standards. We have it all right here in Bosworth. You're more than welcome to join me.